48 persons, mainly women and children, are burned to death as a fire sweeps through the Triangle Shirtwaist Factory in New York City.
My name is Christopher Joseph Cox, or Chris Cox if you want to be short. I'm running for District 1 of Denton, Texas City Council. The thing that really kind of brought me here was the merging of the city after school with ESD's program. I used to work the city after school peer at Dina, and I worked there for about say 4 or 5 years, and it was a really good job. We had yearly raises. I was paid around $21 an hour. It was the most affordable after-school program for parents in the city of Denton, and it got leaked to me in January of last year that the job was going to be shut down. I naturally told my coworkers, because I'm a good socialist. I wanted to make sure that my coworkers were taken care of and could get a new job. And then I was kind of told to basically shut up, that I'm just spreading rumors. And then 1 week later, the big boss came by and said, actually, all those rumors, they're true. We are shutting it down. It was sent in a memo, and the memo said that after school will be shut down. But don't worry, summer camp, Kids Day Out, which is our holiday camp, all these other things would still be going on. Okay, well, I don't like that. So after some other leaks that happened, we shall not say by who or with whom, eventually gets out to the parents. The parents are definitely very upset, and the city manager and city council offices have to make some sort of statement. City manager Sarah Hensley said that it was just a conversation. We were just talking about merging with ESD. Little did the public know that actually they told many members of staff that they were still going to go through the cuts, but if anyone asks, no, they're not. So I get together with some of my coworkers, and we try and organize a union. Public union rules, for those uninitiated, are a lot different than private unions. You can't go through the NLRB. You have to go through the Texas Workforce Commission. But we had some meetings, and we came to the conclusion that we were not going to be able to organize the amount of votes needed to organize, until after summer would have happened, which means that after school would have been shut down. But we did some clandestine espionage. We got together one afternoon, put together a bunch of custom shirts, and you can probably find footage of this in a city council meeting, I think it was around June, of having shirts that said "Save Our Jobs." One of our union comrades went up there and made a speech about how a lot of people relied on this service, not just the parents who saved a lot of money on it, but also a lot of our coworkers who ranged from college kids to ex-lunch ladies to older moms. And yeah, it was an awful thing that was going to be cut. It was a unanimous decision, not a vote, a decision in a work meeting that was happening while we were working, that Sarah Hensley's budget cuts would be approved, or at least staff could carry them out. Not one person on the city council spoke out against it. Not one person on the city council asked for, line action about why, the $400,000 canine training unit for the police was just going to be put on hold, but the $220,000 after-school program would just be straight up cut. or merged with ESD. We went to the city council. We said, hey, please don't do this. Sarah Hensley brought us into the basement and started screaming at us. She started yelling about how she was queen of the city's budget and how, how disrespectful it is for city workers to come up and speak against city policy. That if this was the military, we'd be court-martialed, which was ridiculous. But, she has all the power in that situation, so we couldn't really speak up. Now, could we? Eventually, we calmed her down by saying that, hey, your underlings didn't give us any information. Okay, well, she then said, oh, you guys had the wrong information. We were never going to cut you. We were going to onboard you into other areas. Okay, well, that sounds better. All right. She leaves the room with the assistant city manager still down there. We talked to her, and we asked some clarifying questions of like, hey, are you going to tell the rest of our coworkers? Like in a very large meeting? And she was like, yeah, we can do that. And we clarified, so what is the pay going to be with ESD? And she said, well, I believe for the equivalent of a supervisor, which is what I was, the site director, I believe that's the word that they use, I would be getting a $6 an hour pay cut. And my coworkers would, my counselors, as we call them here, would also be getting a pay cut, which sucked, and I was very pissed. We went to the meeting, and the city staff, the administrative staff, the people that you never meet, came out and said, cities have to work with a limited budget, unlike the big federal government. And unfortunately, we chose to cut the after-school program. There were some people that were trying to joke through the meeting. I was just steamed like a dumpling the entire time. But eventually, after school did get closed down. A lot of parents were very angry that this happened, and I did go into ESD, the extended school day. ESD, run by Denton ISD, is very underfunded. The ratios, the adult to kid ratios, were much worse than what we had here at the rec centers. And really, there were less structured procedures for everything. And that's because a lot of these administrative tasks were put on people that were also having to work the job themselves because no one wanted the job. Childcare, infamously, is a low-paying job with a lot of responsibility, but also the people who are supposed to be paying them never really increase the pay. Eventually, I left ESD, tried to see if I could get on board into other parts of the city, but just a week after Hensley said that we could be onboarded, the city went through the hiring freeze. So no one could be onboarded into other parts of the city. No one could get hired. So a lot of us just got shafted. A lot of us just didn't have jobs at that point. We just had to escape into other places. I eventually got another after-school job with AlphaBest. They pay me pretty well, but it's all the way out in Aubrey. But it was that. In July, there was the FBI raid, which was something that the DRC and Lil D TV covered. That one was connected to some more larger politics. But it did kind of illustrate to me how, even though I took a step away from the political left at the time, I was affected by this. After a lot of thought, I said to myself, the rents are climbing. These good jobs are getting cut. Unions are unions in Texas are already weak, but unions in Denton are, they're a little bit better than the rest of Texas, but they're not strong. So I decided, first I thought I was going to run for place 5 at large. Then I talked to George Ferry. George seemed like a person that, was pretty progressive. But then I saw that Vicky Bird, who a lot of the political left already disliked, was stepping down. I was like, okay, yeah, time to step up here. And then I saw that Vicky Bird was going to be the treasurer for one of my opponents. And with a long list of endorsements of, let's say, unsavory Democrats, in my opinion. So I said, I think that there needs to be a new working class, progressive, socialist side of these politics that aren't as corrupt as the Republicans and Democrats in the city are. Technically, city council elections are nonpartisan, but also there are the people that the big parties really want to win, and so throw a lot of weight behind. That's some insider info. I am not one of those people. I have been appealing to my comrades on the political left, but I am not, at their whims. But that's how we got here.
And to ensure them a fair wage and protection from the dangers of their trades. To compensate them by adequate insurance for injuries received while working.
There's the obvious thing of I'm kind of open about my political ideology. I don't. I want to show people that this is where I stand. These are my values. This is what I deem is important. Take it or leave it. But something that I've noticed that a lot of the other candidates, and not just in District 1, but even the mayoral and at-large Place 5, is that there's not a lot of specific policies. I want to enact certain programs. I want the city after-school program back. That's number one. I want a union advisory committee. I want a municipal housing program, and I want mutual aid days. These are if I get them, that is a win condition. If I don't get them, that is a lose condition. If I don't succeed in that, then that is something to say, hey, why didn't you get this? It's a way of holding myself accountable, which is something that a lot of socialists throughout the country, I feel haven't really achieved in holding themselves accountable to the people that got them where they are. I want to be accountable to the Democratic Socialists of America. I want to be accountable to the Denton left. I want to be accountable to the other progressive groups out there that are supporting me, People's Party of Texas, Green Party. I want them to say, hey, you messed up here. How can we educate you in a different, to make it to where you are back on track? I don't want to become another cog in the system. I want to be pulled back to my roots. I also want to make sure that it's not just me. Something that the DL said to me, or asked me when I was first pitching this idea to them was okay, we put all this energy towards your campaign. What happens afterward? Whether you win or lose, does it all just go to you? If you lose, did we just waste all of our time? And that was a thing that actually got me thinking of you know what? Yeah, you got a point. So we need to make some sort of concrete gains here. So uniting the political left and the progressives and the labor groups, uniting them more together, bringing together the union movement to my campaign. When I go door to door, I'm handing out tenant union flyers. I'm handing out material on how to form a union. I'm handing out, hey, these are events that are coming up that aren't necessarily associated with my campaign, but you can come to them. Free stores, food distribution, fundraisers for unions. I want to hand those out so people can get involved. That's something that when I come to a lot of these protests, I kind of get frustrated of, okay, you came here, you waved the sign, you told Trump to get off your back, but where are you going to go after this? What are you going to do after this? Are you going to advocate for housing rights after this, labor rights, rights for LGBT people, immigrant rights, women's rights? Where are you going to go after this? I don't want you to just think that coming out to the protest is the action. The protest is a threat of larger action. But the main point of that I want to hammer down is it's not just me. I don't want it to be just me. I want it to be something larger. I am a symptom. I am a symptom of something larger. A new working class movement that rejects the old party dichotomies.
From United States troops.
The biggest thing with the council specifically is that it has become a place where landlords have a lot of influence, where bosses have a lot of influence. You hear them talk about the small business owner. And the small business owner has a unique position in the class structure of Denton, but also the small business owner is still a boss. It's still a capitalist. And that means that they still are the middle class. And if there's a middle class, there's a lower class inherently. This is something that happened with the Democratic Party all the way back in the 90s. I would argue that started with Jimmy Carter, but it's something that has progressively gone with the more liberal side of politics for quite some time now. And because of this, politics has not really embraced the working class as a unique movement beyond the middle class. We need a strong union movement. Where are the candidates that are not just saying, I'm endorsed by the unions, they're saying, I am fighting for the unions in the city. I am going to advocate for the unions. I'm going to give the unions institutions. I'm going to give them a place to meet up. I'm going to give them places to connect and basically yell at politicians in order to get their policies done. I'm going to be accountable to those unions. We need to advocate not just for institutional power, though. We need to activate the political working class outside of normal elections. They must be willing to get involved with labor unions and tenant unions, but we have done this thing. We've done this odd thing in political culture. We have put it all to the politicians, and when we put it all to the politicians, it means that we are not advocating for our own interests. We are advocating for the interests of bureaucrats and people who are going to get paid more than us. I think that Denton has lost its way with the working class because it does not have a strong union base as much as other cities in the country. I think Denton has lost its way with the working class because it does not advocate for the renters. I think we talk about the property developers and development and job growth. I think we talk about those things, but we don't talk about the people who are in those jobs, the people that have to work those restaurants that are being paid $2.15 an hour and have to make everything up with tips. We're not talking about the people who have to get paid $7.25 an hour in some of these stores, which is not a living wage. We are not talking about wage growth. We're not talking about worker benefits. We're not talking about those things because those are inconvenient to a lot of bosses. And do not get me wrong. There are small business owners who are cool, who are very willing to accept unions in their workplace, who are very willing to accept more progressive policies. But there is a class conflict here, and we are not acknowledging it. There is a class war going on in the whole country, and we are not acknowledging it. And as long as we don't acknowledge it, then the people who are not organized, the working class people, will always be shafted. The rich people are organized, the landlords are organized, the bosses are organized. When are we going to be organized?
FDR is careful not to alienate either of the warring labor factions. He walks a political tightrope between the AFL and the CIO. Both have large votes.
So, Kris Cox Council. The Kris Cox Council starts off with immediately trying to bring back the after-school program. That is the immediate out-the-door thing. We are going to bring back those good-paying jobs for the working people of this city, and we are going to bring back that much-needed service. Even talking to some of the parents, when they heard that it was getting closed down, they would say to me, hey, if you need to just increase the price, we're willing to pay it, but we don't want to lose this service. It's too good of a program. And so if we need to bump up the price of it, maybe, but that is something to talk about at the budget sessions. What does need to happen is that we need to start deprioritizing, cutting services in favor of lowering budgets. No more austerity from me. I do not vote for austerity. I vote for social programs. If that means I have to cut the police budget, I'll do that, even if that makes the state really angry about it. If that means that we have to start looking at our budget in a much tighter way, absolutely. But first things, after-school program. After that, municipal housing program. Bringing that back too, because we need to have affordable living and we need to take on the power of these landlords. Ideally, we don't have landlords in Denton anymore. We abolish it as a class, ideally. But first we're going to go after the landlords that are not up to code. After that, we are going to try and bring the Union Advisory Committee out here. We are going to have the organized working class give their input to the city council as much as possible. When they say, hey, we cannot afford to live here, hey, our pensions are not going up, hey, please give us something to fight against these union-busting bosses, we're going to say, okay, we hear you, we're going to bring it up at council meetings. People will know about this. We are going to tell people about the bad business practices that happen in this city. And let me tell you, folks, on the square, I want to say about a third, maybe half of those businesses are doing some shady stuff. But finally, the mutual aid days will be a benefit for every single person in the city that just doesn't want to spend too much on things. If someone has a couch or a TV that they no longer need, we will put up a monthly day in maybe Denia Park or in the rec center or somewhere. You can come get it. We can probably even do some sort of program where we can deliver it to your house. But we're going to be able to share the resources that we have together because we're a community that can do that. We, as a city, have shared our resources in indirect ways, just by throwing your bookshelf near the dumpster, just by thrift stores. We've done this before, but we're going to do it in a much more organized way. Yeah, I think since they got the playground under construction over there, they use this place. So your boy got a website, KrisForDenton.com. You can also find me on Insta. I kind of post on Insta a little bit more than Facebook. Kris for Denton. Facebook, also Kris for Denton. And I got my email, KrisForDenton.com or KrisForDenton@gmail.com.